welcome to our channel. Today we examine a significant development in the Red Sea, where Houthi rebels have claimed responsibility for an attempted missile and drone attack on the U.S. Navy's nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, the USS Harry S. Truman. On April 11, 2025, the Houthi rebel group, also known as Ansar Allah, announced that they had launched a series of missile and drone strikes targeting the USS Harry S. Truman in the northern Red Sea. According to Houthi military spokesperson Yahya Sari, these attacks were in retaliation for U.S. airstrikes in Yemen and were part of their broader resistance against what they describe as American aggression. The U.S. military has not confirmed any damage to the USS Harry S. Truman or its accompanying vessels. Reports indicate that U.S. warships intercepted and neutralized several drones launched by the Houthis. This incident follows a series of confrontations in the region, highlighting the escalating tensions between the U.S. and Houthi forces. The Houthi rebels nearly hit a U.S. aircraft carrier with a missile, new report shows. The incident, which occurred earlier in the year but was only just reported in the October issue of CTC Sentinel, Combating Terrorism Center at West Point's monthly publication, suggests that the Houthi missile came within just 200 meters of the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. By some accounts, an anti-ship ballistic missile or other missile arrived at a very shallow trajectory, with minimal warning, without a chance for interception, and splashing down around 200 meters, 656 feet, from the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. In other words, it was a close call. Attacking the shipping lane. The Houthis, whom Iran supports, have been attacking international shipping lanes in the Red Sea, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, and the Gulf of Aden ever since the war between Israel and Hamas began last October. The USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, along with other U.S. and European vessels, were sent to the region to protect civilian ships traversing through the shipping lanes. The USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, in particular, was quite busy during the deployment, expending 155 surface-to-air missiles, 135 land attack cruise missiles, nearly 60 air-to-air missiles, and 420 air-to-surface weapons during what is called a historic combat deployment. But the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower has been a target as well. The Houthis, who have a diverse arsenal including air, land, and sea drones, ballistic missiles, and cruise missiles, have been pushing back against the American presence in the region. The Eisenhower has relied upon its carrier strike group, which includes a cruiser and destroyers, for protection. The cruiser and destroyers, which were armed with missiles for air defense, formed a defensive layer to protect the aircraft carrier, Newsweek reported. Meanwhile, fighter jets aboard the aircraft carrier equipped with air-to-air missiles can shoot down slow-flying drones and missiles. Fortunately, the Eisenhower itself is equipped with self-defense weaponry, including surface-to-air missiles and gun systems for close-in threats. Yet the fact that low-tech drones and missiles, in the possession of a relatively ragtag terrorist organization, can pose a legitimate threat to a multi-billion-dollar American supercarrier should be a point of concern, and speaks to the increased relevance of non-state actors in the post-Cold War global order. The aircraft carrier is a symbol for a nation's prestige, military might, and technical prowess. That a rebel group armed with drones and missiles can threaten such a symbol perhaps transcends symbolism. The supercarrier's vulnerability to the Houthi rebels is also likely to exacerbate concerns over naval readiness for a confrontation with China. U.S. strategy in the Indo-Pacific where China has become increasingly assertive, depends upon successful aircraft carrier deterrence. Yet, to keep the carrier fleet safe from China's, relative to the Houthis, sophisticated weaponry, America's flagships may have a muted impact on any conflict. But frankly, the U.S. public does not have, nor should have, the tolerance for the loss of a supercarrier. The human and fiscal toll implicit in the loss of just one supercarrier would be a shock to the conscience for a nation that has been able to engage in foreign conflict in a slow-burning, partially committed sort of way for nearly 2 generations. More flat tops ready for action. The U.S. Navy has continued to rotate carriers to the region, and currently, USS Abraham Lincoln is on station. USS Theodore Roosevelt had also spent much of the summer in the Middle East before returning to San Diego. The carrier arrived at its home port this week. USS Harry S. Truman recently arrived in the North Sea to conduct joint operations with NATO allies and partners. CVN-75 was originally slated to replace CVN-71 in the Middle East to allow the U.S. to maintain 2 carriers in the region and could still be sent there if needed. However, in addition to USS Abraham Lincoln, the amphibious assault ship USS Wasp, her amphibious ready group, and the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit are now positioned in the eastern Mediterranean. The Red Sea is a critical maritime corridor for global trade, and any conflict in this area poses significant risks to international shipping and regional stability. The Houthis' actions, coupled with the U.S. military's responses, underscore the fragile security situation in the Middle East and the potential for broader confrontations involving regional and global powers. The attempted attack on the USS Harry S. Truman by Houthi rebels marks a concerning escalation in the Red Sea region. As tensions continue to rise, the international community watches closely, hoping for de-escalation and the restoration of stability in this vital area. Stay tuned to our channel for further updates on this developing story.